So we are at Dorney Court on a nice spring morning, and what do we have beside Dorney Court are these apartments, and it's a location I've visited loads of times. So this landscaped area is where the Harcourt Street line once was. Went right up through there, double tracks, once a main line to Dublin, and Dublin down to Wexford and Waterford. The more I think about it, the more it's kind of incredible to think coastal line was the branch line. Of course, at one time Pierce Station was Westland Row before it was renamed after the two Pierces in 1966, the 50th anniversary of the Rising. So I'm coming up here to the bridge on Dublin Road Bridge. 6 years after the Rising, this bridge was blown up. So you can see the replacement top of the bridge there, and the brickwork from the 1920s. And this is the original brickwork from the 1850s, the abutments either side. So this bridge was blown up and had to be replaced. The anti-treatyites just picked on the DFCR line, it was just known then, Dublin South Eastern Railway line, and the Great Southern, or the line was between Wexford, let me get this right, between Rosslare to Cork via Dungarvan, and that line was, the viaducts were blown up in that. It was Ballyboyle viaduct, but I'll put it in the comments anyway. So, but yeah, I'd say the majority of these people, if not all these people, don't realise that the landscape gardens was once a double tracked railway line. So I've just come from around the corner of Dorney Court. There's a couple of houses that were built in recent years. So they've been directly built on the track bed. This graffiti covered wall is right beside where the track was, the double tracks were. And then you have the semi-detached houses in Dorney. So this was all once the huge estate of Dorney Court. The actual house was demolished in 1984. So this development was built afterward. Here we are 42 years later. As I said before, it was a missed opportunity not to protect. They did protect the alignment for the Luas between Grand Canal right down to Sandyford. Now they did, because of low density, they chose not to bring the line via Foxrockham, the other side of the racecourse Ballyogan. So that's understandable. But that line is protected, but this section of the line, let's be relevant here, it was a missed opportunity. They could have protected the line right down to the old Shankill junction, which they didn't, and that frustrates me that you could have had a Luas come through here. You could have still had the apartments there, because the Luas up and around Dundrum and Leopardstown, they have apartments and commercial and residential buildings right beside the Luas, so it would have been feasible. Let's face it, we're never going to have heavy rail again, but a Luas should have come down here. You can imagine a Luas going underneath that bridge, and there would have been a stop at the old Shankill station, and then the Luas going down to the old Shankill junction, Luas going over Stonebridge, or going over Queen's Road. What might have been, but it wasn't to be. Could have been like a Broombridge situation where you'd have integration of Broombridge between the old Broadstone cutting right up to the old Liffey Junction, which is now the Broombridge station, and the big Luas depot you have there. But it's definitely a missed opportunity not to have done that. Finally, something non-railway related. This incredible tree must go back hundreds of years. Must have been built 200 years ago, I reckon, because not quite 200 years ago, but probably when the railway came along here in the 1850s, these big houses were built. And there we have the lodge house up here. You can see it up here. Anyway, so as I said, imagine the Luas going through there. You would have had the silver carriages coming through here, but it's not meant to be. Thanks for watching this video, and I appreciate all the subscribers. It's my first video in a few weeks, so it's nice to get one done. It's on my phone, so my camera died, unfortunately, but there you go. Hopefully I'll get a new camera someday, but I'll use this for the time being. Thank you.